بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Once again we are gathered here as every Friday after Salat al-Isha. I will try to, with the little bit of knowledge I have, try to educate you and try to advise you and advise myself, inshallah. I was in a bit of a perplexed situation today to talk to you about. And as I was coming down for Isha, I realized that the time that we are living in is the same time before the advent of the Prophet ﷺ. And that time was referred to as the time of Jahiliyyah, of ignorance. And someone with knowledge had to come and remove that darkness and bring people into that light. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا, I was sent as a teacher. And who was the teacher of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet alayhi salatu wa sallam in that time of Jahiliyyah, that time of darkness, where people were burying their daughters alive. This was the time in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That in that time women were not seen as equal to men, or women were seen as part of society. They were seen as something which was of no value. And they were seen as something which was an embarrassment. So the father, what he did when his wife conceived a girl, he would bury her alive. This was happening at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. In that time, the Prophet ﷺ changed this whole concept. He changed this whole concept, and in that time he said that paradise lies at the feet of your mother. He said that the status of a woman in Islam is such that paradise lies at her feet. Her status is this. And then the Prophet ﷺ, from the women, the most knowledgeable from the women was Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. From the women. And we find many hadiths, especially in the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, where the narrator of that hadith is none other than Sayyidah Aisha. So the Prophet ﷺ came as a teacher to teach his people that women are given rights, to teach his people that we should be together as brothers, because in that time there were wars that were happening between certain tribes, wars that were going on for centuries, and then those people that were fighting had lost the purpose, and they didn't know the purpose of why they were fighting. They were just carrying on the war of their forefathers. In that time, the Prophet ﷺ changed the whole society that was there at that time. And this time is also a time of Jahiliyyah. Our people, ourselves, we are very ignorant. And we don't seek knowledge. And the Prophet ﷺ said about knowledge, طَلَبُ الْعِلْمِ فَرِيدَةٌ, that seeking knowledge is فَرْض عَلَى كُلِّ مُسْلِمٍ وَمُسْلِمَةٍ, upon every male Muslim and every female Muslim. Whatever type of knowledge that may be. To the extent that the Prophet ﷺ said, أُطْلِبُ الْعِلْمَ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِالسِّينِ, go and seek knowledge, even if it be that you have to go to China. And what was in China at that time? There weren't Muslims at that time. But the Prophet ﷺ was referring to secular knowledge. He was referring to knowledge of technology and advancement. And today, if you go to China, China makes everything. China makes the iPhone. China makes the iPad. All of technology and advancement comes from China. So the Prophet ﷺ, over 1400 years ago, is commanding his Sahaba, أُطْلِبُ الْعِلْمَ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِالسِّينِ, go and study knowledge, go and seek knowledge, even if you have to go to China. Because Rasulullah ﷺ knew And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given him this knowledge that there was going to be something special in China. That today, the prophecy of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has manifested and has come true. That China today is the leading and most powerful country in the world in terms of technology and advancement. And we as Muslims, we have forgotten our right. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Anbiya, they do not leave behind any inheritance. They do not leave behind dananir and dirham. They do not leave behind wealth. The inheritance of the Anbiya is ilm, is knowledge. And those people who are the inheritors of knowledge are the ulama. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْعُلَمَا وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَا. He says, the ulama, the scholars, those people who have studied, they are the inheritors of the Prophet ﷺ. And if you look at the sacrifices of the ulama in the past history, of how much they had to sacrifice in order to search and seek knowledge. Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, radiyallahu ta'ala anh, who unfortunately today we as Sunnis have given a wrong image of. We have given him an image of that he was just someone that used to perform miracles and that's it. He had no ilm. He left his mother at the age of 18, he never returned to her, he never saw his mother again. He left his home at the age of 18 to search, to seek knowledge from the greatest ulama of his time, to the extent that he wrote a full tafsir on the Quran. A 4-volume tafsir which I have in my library. In Arabic, Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani wrote that. He wasn't just a bee, he was a great scholar of his time. We know ulama like Sufyan al-Sawri. These names probably you have not heard before. Sufyan al-Sawri was one of the greatest muhaddithin of his time. He was in the time of Imam Abu Hanifa. He asked his mother for permission to go study knowledge. His mother said that, give me a few days to think about this. He came back the next day and he asked the same question. He said, Mom, I want to study the religion of the Prophet ﷺ. She said, come back tomorrow. He came back the second day. He asked the same question. She said, come back on tomorrow and I'll give you an answer. The third day when he came, his mother said, go and study the religion. He didn't go to study for 1 year. He didn't go to study for 2 years. He didn't go to study for 10 years. He went to study for 40 years. 40 years he had not seen his mother. One night Sufyan al-Sawri thought to himself, it's been 40 years I've been seeking knowledge. I want to see the face of my mother. I want to see paradise on this earth which is my mother. So he made this intention. He said, I'm going to go back home, I'm going to visit my mother. So at night he arrived home and it was very late. He knocks on the door of his house and his mother said, who is it? And he said, it's your son Sufyan al-Sawri. She said, what are you doing here? He said, Mom, it's been 40 years I haven't seen your face. 40 years I have struggled and I've strived in seeking the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the knowledge of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. I thought I'd come and visit you. And you know what the reply of his mother was? She said, my son, the day you came to ask me to study this religion, I sacrificed you in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't see my face today, I will see you on the day of judgment. Sufyan al-Sawri went back to studying. 40 years passed of his life, he never saw his mother. To the extent that the ulama write, he didn't even attend the funeral of his mother. Because this is how much sacrifice his mother gave. Knowledge has such a value in our religion that today we as Muslims have lost that value. How much ilm the Sahaba had and how much there were certain Sahaba which were called Ashab al-Sufa. The only job of them was that they used to stay in Masjid al-Nabawi, outside of the hujrah of the Prophet ﷺ. And whenever the Prophet ﷺ came, they studied for him. They did not go on jihad. They did not do anything. They had to stay in the masjid. This was their job and this was their responsibility, to seek knowledge from the Prophet ﷺ. And then they passed this knowledge on to the tabi'een. And this knowledge was then passed on to the atba'u tabi'een. And the reason why I thought today to speak about it is because there are a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala said, "La khayra fi ilmin la fahma fihi." He said, there's no good in that knowledge if there's no understanding in it. Ilm is something else, fahm is something else. Having understanding of what you know is something different. And having more information, having more knowledge is something different. There's a lot of people who are confusing our youngsters today by quoting the Quran and by quoting ahadith and misquoting these ahadith.
and because our youngsters are not educated, and our ulama have not done their job. It's not just the fault of the committees, it is the fault of our ulama. Our scholars have not been doing their job properly. I.e., why those that came from Pakistan, who are working in this country, who cannot speak the language of these people, who cannot speak English, they are not giving up their responsibility to the future generation. The future generation is all youngsters. These Urdu speakers in 10, 20 years won't remain anymore. The future generation is youth, and our youth are not given this opportunity to that they educate the people. This is why a lot of youth don't want to become scholars. Parents want to make their sons doctors, lawyers, solicitors, barristers. No one wants their son to become a Maulvi. They'll say, why is he going to become a Maulvi? There's no good paying Maulvi. He's going to go into a masjid and the committee are going to do his head in, and then he's going to leave after a year. He will become a taxi driver. There's no point. Why should we go study knowledge? But the ulama, the rank that a scholar has, a solicitor will never have. The Prophet ﷺ said that a scholar, when he walks past a graveyard, when he walks past a graveyard, just his mere walking past is a means of forgiveness for all these people who are buried in that graveyard. A doctor doesn't have this rank. A solicitor doesn't have this rank. A barrister doesn't have this rank. A lawyer doesn't have this rank. But the rank of someone who can be the means of forgiveness of others is only a scholar. But unfortunately, in the time that we are living in, parents have this ideology that my son, if he becomes a Maulvi, where is his rizq going to come from? Someone who studies Dars in Nizami, or someone who studies the traditional sciences, what kind of degree is he going to get? It's not going to be a BA, it's not going to be an MA, it's not going to be recognized in society, he's not going to be recognized in society. So where is his rizq going to come from? Have we forgotten, and is our tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so low that we forget that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, He is the one that gives us? My teacher once told us a story about their wife. He said that when I was in Pakistan and I used to go out to tour and to speak, my wife would complain that money doesn't come into the family, we don't have food, and you don't give time to the children, you're always out speaking, preaching and teaching. And my teacher said that I am doing the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you think that He's not going to provide for you? Whose work I am doing, you think that He's not going to provide for you? You think that He's not going to give sustenance to you? You think that He's not going to put food on the table? He said, I am doing the work of Allah and the work of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely give us rizq. But today we live in that ideology and that society. And I'm not surprised that youngsters don't want to become ulama. Because when they see the state of what is happening in the masajid, this deters them away from that. When they see the halat of how the a'imma are treated, or how the scholars are treated in today's society, they don't want to study. But ilm has such a value. Knowledge is definitely power. Knowledge is definitely power. Shaitan one day, he said, I'll tell you the difference between a scholar and a normal person who worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, this is the difference. He took all of his companions with him. He went to an abid, someone who is praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a very old man, 70 years old. He's been praying nawafil, he's been fulfilling his fara'id, he's been fulfilling his sunnah and his wajibat. He goes up to him and Shaitan says to him, he says, oh old man, you see this cup I have in my hand? Do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can fill the entire creation in this cup? He said, Astaghfirullah, how's that possible? Such a small cup, and look how big the universe is. How is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can possibly fit all of the universe in that? He became a kafir, he didn't realize. Why? Because he limited the qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He limited the capability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan said, did you see? He said, now let me take you to a scholar. Now let me take you to an alim, to someone who has studied the religion. He asked the same question to the scholar. The scholar replied, forget this small cup. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could fill 10 universes in this small cup. He has that much capability inside him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has that much. Then Shaitan said, did you see the answer? Between that individual who was praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for 70 years, all of his salawat, all of his prayers became batil because he became a kafir. Because he limited the qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet this alim, who hasn't probably prayed enough nawafil like that 70-year-old man. But because he has ilm, because he has knowledge, and knowledge is greater than a heavy prayers. The Prophet ﷺ said that if a scholar who on his bed before going to sleep thinks about a mas'ala, it will be as if he spent the whole night in worship. This is the rank of an alim who 5 minutes thinks about an issue, a mas'ala of fiqh, or maybe a mas'ala of aqidah. He's thinking about something and then he falls asleep. The Prophet ﷺ said the reward he will get for just merely thinking will be as if he spent the whole night worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole night worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, the virtue of knowledge he gave. One day they walked into the Masjid al-Nabawi and they saw that 2 circles were gathered. One was the circle of zikr and one was the circle of ilm and knowledge. And the Prophet ﷺ said that both are doing good. But I am going to sit with those who are studying knowledge. Why? Because إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent me as a teacher. So he sat in the virtue in the circle of knowledge. And knowledge is such a fadila that when the angel of death came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said that a certain companion of the Prophet ﷺ was only 1 hour to live. And Malak al-Maut said that go and inform that companion that he had 1 hour to live. The Prophet ﷺ called for that individual. And he says, you have 1 hour to live. After that, Malak al-Maut will come and will take your soul. And you will return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He asked the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, what can I do in this 1 hour? And the Prophet ﷺ said, go and study knowledge. He didn't say go and read nawafil. He didn't say go and read the Quran. He didn't say go give charity. He didn't say go and perform tawaf or go and perform umrah because we have 1 hour to live. He said go and study knowledge because knowledge will even benefit you in the grave. Knowledge will benefit you in the grave. This is the virtue of knowledge. We were those people that the West would come to us in the time of Ibn Sina, Abyssinia. Ibn Sina was that individual, was a great master of medicine. Every single Western university you go to, they will have his book. Western people are studying books of Muslims, and we as Muslims don't know our heritage. We have forgotten our heritage. Al-Jabbar, he's the one that initiated algebra. Al-Jabbar was one of the greatest people of mathematicians. He's the one that originated algebra. Today Muslims have no idea of this. They have no idea. Ibn Farnas, this glasses what I'm wearing, Ibn Farnas, who is a Muslim scientist, he's the one that discovered the glasses from the glasses. A Muslim. This is the virtue of knowledge. The first verse I was reading to the Prophet ﷺ said, Iqra, I said, read. How many of us are studying Islam? How many of us know basic masail of fiqh, which is fardul ayn upon us? Or what we know about Allah? What is wajib for Allah? What is mumkin and what is not mumkin for Allah? What is mustaheel? What is impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How many of us know how to pray namaz properly? How do we know how to pray wudu properly? Today I was teaching the madrasa kids. 18-year-old kid I had there. He said, I don't know how to pray namaz. I said, how long have you been coming to this masjid? He said, years. I said, what have they been teaching you? If you don't know how to pray namaz, if you don't know how to do wudu properly, what are we teaching our youngsters here? Do we think that we can fill the masjid in for milad session and we've done our duty? That's not our duty. There is not a single masjid within UK that has a decent syllabus or a decent standard syllabus for madrasa children. Not a single one. I've been to 6 masajid in 2 years. Every single masjid I've gone to, the syllabus is there very good. It's poor because the imam probably can't speak English. And if he can't speak English, and he's from Pakistan, he can speak Urdu, then he should realize that he should move away and step away from his responsibility and give that opportunity to someone who can speak English. I was sitting last week with my teacher in Birmingham. They said 1981 I stopped doing Jummah. 1981. He said I stopped doing Jummah. I came to this country, and should be some, they know of my teacher. I came into this country in 1974. 1981 I stopped doing speeches in Urdu because I realized I wasn't fit for this society. They said those who are fit for this society are those who are born and bred in this society. So he said, I made this intention that I won't speak, but my students will speak. I will make scholars from this country who went to state schools, who went to college, who went to universities. So when they stand on the minbar and they tell people about Islam, then no one can point a finger that he's from Pakistan or he's got an Islamic environment. That same person will have to admit that the state school that I went to, he went to as well. The college that I went to, he went to as well. So if he can become a scholar, then also I can become a scholar. 1981, they said it's 2014 now. They said, how many scholars? You will not find scholars like them anymore, that give their responsibility away for the youngsters. I told you last week that Muhammad bin Qasim, 17 years old, he's the one that conquered India. Young. Tariq bin Ziyad was very young when he conquered Spain. And the first thing these two individuals did when they conquered those countries, India and Spain, is that they built madaris. They built Islamic universities in there to teach and educate those people. And this is the problem that we have. Our people are not educated. There's a famous story of Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, where both of them were making wuzu, and there was an old man. And he was making a mistake in wudu. This man was 70 years old. He was making a mistake in wudu. Now, bring this to our time. If you're a 70-year-old man and you're making wudu wrong, and a young man says to you, you're making wudu wrong, what's the response going to be? Who are you to tell me? You were born today. I've had people say that to me. They go, what does he know? He's Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein were very wise. They said, we weren't telling him that he's making a mistake. What we'll do is, Hassan, you make the same mistake he's making, and I will correct you. So they sat next to the old man while he was making wudu. And Imam Hassan made the same mistake that the old man was making. And Imam Hussein said, Hassan, you don't do it like this, you do it like this. And then the old man realized what the mistake he was making. And he said, 70 years I've been doing wuzu like this and I've been doing it wrong. And all those namaz that he read, he said they have not been accepted by Allah. So he repeated all of the 70 years of namaz. But if that was an old man of today, tell me what would the response be? He would say, who are you to tell me? Who are you to tell me? Because I've been praying for so long. And this is the arrogancy in our buzurg, and this is why the whole purpose young people don't want to come to the masjid. We see a young man at the front, Baba goes, Kya karna hai? Who gave you right of that first saf? Who gave you right that you can move someone back? The Prophet ﷺ said, if you knew the virtue of the front of the first saf, you would kill one another to find out his virtue. But I'm not telling you of how his virtue is. The Prophet ﷺ, let me tell you a story about him that I'll finish on this. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, who was from many of the old Sahaba, was sitting on the left of the Prophet ﷺ. And there's a young boy on the right of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Look how equal the Prophet ﷺ was. And we should take a lesson from their life. They drank some milk, and it was a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that anything they would drink, they would give it then after to the person who was on the right. Now someone who was older was on their left, that was Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Someone who was a young child was on their right, and their way was on the right, so they went to the young child and they said, it's your right that you take the milk from my hands, and you drink it from where I've drank from, but they are older than you. Do you want me to give it to them? He said, no, Ya Rasulullah. They are older than me, but because your lips have touched that glass, I want to drink from it. But I want to make a point here, that the Buzurg was sitting there and the young man was sitting here. But the Prophet ﷺ favored the young man over the Buzurgs. Today, if you want the youth to come back, the Buzurgs need to show mercy. The Prophet ﷺ said, Man la yarham la yurham. The one who is not merciful will not show any mercy by Allah. If you are deterring, if it is for you, and you are the cause of someone leaving the masjid, you are the cause of someone leaving the masjid, because you said to him, what are you doing in the front saf? Go out the back. And he leaves the masjid and he never prays, then Allah will hold you accountable on the day of judgment. Remember that. Allah will hold you accountable. This is why it's very important, and I'm glad that the masjid have taken this initiative, that they've got someone who can speak English. I said last week, I am not a scholar of any sort, but my teachers are scholars. My teachers are those who have studied for 15 to 20 years. And whatever little bit of understanding Allah has given me through their saying, I will try to propagate and teach you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept my efforts and make dua for me. I'm younger than you are elder than me, you make dua for me. And I make dua for you because I'm in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the one who's in the way of Allah, his dua will be accepted. But I want you to make dua for me that Allah makes me sincere in what I do. It's very easy to become very arrogant when you're sitting, especially on the minbar. So make dua for me that Allah makes me sincere in what I do. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this masjid that we have is one day filled with so many youth that we have to make the masjid even bigger. And that is the aim. That's the whole aim of why I was brought. That is the aim. To bring the youth back to the masjid. Because we've lost so many youth. And we're 30, 40 years behind those other people who are not Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who are not on the right path. But because they speak English, they've taken our youth. And we've been asleep, doing our khatams and Milad Sharif and Yarami Sharif and langars and all of this, and we've lost the whole purpose and the essence of what we have to do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our efforts. وَقُولِ قَوْلِ هَذَا وَاسْتَغْفِرُ لِي وَلَكُمْ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. If anyone wants to ask a question, feel free to ask one. If not, then I'll wrap this up with a dua, inshallah. No question? Not to Russia? No question? آمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا فهما وزدنا حكمة والحمد لله على كل حال. صلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا رب.